The sack dropped hard on the dirt floor. It wriggled once, then again. He stared. Breath caught in his throat. The sound came low, cracked open like something old being split. A cry. Then silence. He took a step back. The canvas twitched. Another whimper. He reached down, hands stiff from cold and instinct, unfastened the flap, looked inside. A baby, wrapped in torn flannel, slick with blood not hers, eyes wide and wrong for her size, skin mottled, breathing shallow. He didn't speak, just stared. Something was wrong with her eyes. They weren't afraid. He reached in, pulled her out slow. She didn't cry this time. She just stared up like she knew his face from somewhere else. Pinned to the flannel was a note. Yellowed, folded clean. He opened it with both hands, careful like it might bite. If she cries, sing your mother's song. He read it twice, looked down at the baby. You cryin'? The baby blinked. He swallowed. I don't remember no damn song. The wind hit the side of the cabin. Loose boards groaned. He shut the door with one foot and carried her to the hearth, set her on an old coat he hadn't worn in 5 years. Where the hell you come from? He whispered. What kind of fool puts a baby in a sack with blood all over it? He looked back at the pack. Blood on the bottom, smeared across the canvas like a deer hadn't made it clean. But he hadn't trapped nothing that day. Just walked the high ridge. Didn't remember picking up weight. Didn't feel her squirm. You don't make sense. The baby sneezed. He stared at the fire, rubbed his jaw. Ain't no way you walked into my sack by yourself. She coughed, choked a little, wiggled. He knelt, picked her up, held her against his chest. She was warm, not cold like a dead thing, but not right neither. Who you belong to? No answer, obviously. He looked at the fire again, rubbed his hands down his face. The baby hiccuped, whimpered. He bounced her lightly. Don't cry now. Another whimper, sharp this time. I don't know no song. I don't. She let out a full cry. He winced, held her tighter. Shh, shh, girl, stop. The note crinkled in his pocket. He pulled it again. Read it slower. If she cries, sing your mother's song. He tried, opened his mouth. Nothing came, just dust in the throat. Shit! She screamed louder. All right, he muttered, rocking back and forth. My mama sang something. Just give me a damn minute. He tried humming, something low, from the back of his head. Could have been church. Could have been creek water. The baby paused, sniffled, watched him. He kept going, voice cracking, sounded more like a moan than music. Close enough, he muttered. She fell quiet again, closed her eyes. Yeah, that's right. You sleep. You sleep, I drink. He stood, still holding her, crossed to the cabinet, poured from the dark bottle into a chipped mug, took a long pull. The fire popped behind him. He looked down. She was watching again, didn't blink. You don't sleep much, huh? She made a soft noise, almost like a laugh, but not quite. He walked back to the fire, sat down hard, rocked a little, let the mug rest beside him on the floor. Can't keep you. Don't want to. The baby shifted. You hear that? I ain't no daddy. Silence. He stared at her. You got no right showing up like this. She reached a hand toward his face, touched his beard. No fear in her fingers. Hell. He rubbed his eyes. Somebody's gonna come knocking. Somebody's gonna ask. The wind hit the boards again. He glanced at the door. No baby just shows up bloody in a man's sack. She yawned. He watched the flames flicker. I ain't had family in 20 years. The baby gurgled. Not since. He stopped, looked away, drank again. You ain't mine. He shifted her in his arms, held her closer. You ain't. She settled. He closed his eyes, hummed again. Something low, something his mother might have sung when the creek ran high and the cows got sick. The note burned in his hand. He tossed it into the fire, watched the edges curl, blacken, turn to ash. If she cries, he whispered, I'll figure it out. The wind died down, just the fire and her breathing now, and somewhere far off. In the woods he thought he knew, a sound rose, a low hum, a voice not his, not hers. He stopped rocking, looked toward the window. The baby whimpered once, then fell still. He stood slow, moved toward the glass. Dark out, just trees, Just wind. But he swore he saw something move. He stepped back, locked the door. "You ain't mine," he said again, softer, then added, without thinking, "But I reckon you're here." He set her down in the crate by the stove, pulled a blanket over her, sat close by, kept humming, didn't know the words, didn't stop trying. The baby screamed against his chest, lungs raw like she was being born again. He rocked her on the porch, boots planted in mud, the wood groaning beneath him. His voice cracked in rhythm, slow and unsure. "Is this your mama's song?" Her wail climbed higher. He tried again, half humming, half guessing some tune from long ago. "Hush now, please, little thing." She didn't hush. He pressed her tighter against him. "You'll get us found," he muttered. "Somebody hears you. They'll come looking." He stood, stepped off the porch into wet dirt, and turned down the slope behind the cabin. Only one left who might know a damn thing lives up yonder. The widow's house was 3 hills over, tucked behind a burned-out grove. Nobody went unless they needed something they weren't supposed to ask for. He kept walking. The baby hiccuped between cries like she was catching breath to scream louder. He held her tighter. His legs ached. His back burned. He didn't stop. The widow's fence was broken in 4 spots. Wind had taken her chimney a year back. The place looked half sunk. He knocked anyway. "Don't knock," came the voice from inside. "Door ain't locked." He pushed it open, smelled boiled root and mold. "Close it behind you." He did. The baby kept crying. The widow didn't look up, just kept stirring her pot with a bone-handled spoon. "I heard her all the way down the hill. I didn't know where else to go," he said. "No one ever does," she said. "Come closer." He stepped forward. The baby thrashed. "What's her name?" the widow asked. "Don't know." She raised her eyes then. Cloudy gray, sharp all the same. "Don't know." "She was in my sack," he said, "wrapped in blood, with a note." "What did it say?" He hesitated. Said to sing if she cried. The widow's stirring slowed. "I don't remember the song." She set the spoon down. "A lot of men don't." He stepped closer. The baby kicked hard against his ribs. "You mind?" he asked. The widow held out her arms. "Let me see her." He passed her over. The baby went silent the second she touched the widow's hands. "Well, ain't that something?" the widow said. He blinked. "She ain't quiet for nobody." "She's listening," the widow said. "She knows me." He swallowed. "You seen her before?" "Not her," the widow said, "but others, like her." He frowned. "Others?" "Girls born from silence," she said. "Dropped in blood, always a note, always a man who don't remember the song." He stared. "You think this is new?" she asked. "I ain't heard of nothing like this." "You wouldn't. Not the kind of stories they write down." He looked down at the floorboards. "She yours?" "She's none of ours," the widow said. "She belongs to what we buried and tried to forget." He stepped back. "You talkin' riddles." "I'm talkin' truth." He rubbed his jaw. "Why me?" "You carry guilt," she said. "That's why they chose you." "I don't carry nothin'." "You do," she said, soft now. "You just don't feel it no more." The baby looked at him, quiet still, watching. "She don't blink much," he said. "She's seen more than she should." "She's just a baby." The widow shook her head. "You believe that if it helps you sleep." He frowned again. "You sayin' she's cursed?" "I'm sayin' she's what's left of something old, something the men in this town tried to bury." "Who buried what?" The widow moved to a shelf, pulled a small cloth bundle from behind a cracked dish. She unfolded it on the table. Inside was a picture, faded, black and white, folded in the center, a woman holding a baby. "That her?" he asked. "No," the widow said. "That was my daughter. Disappeared the year the sheriff took office." He stared at the photo. "Folks said she ran off, but she didn't. She's under the soil with the others." "The others?" The widow nodded. He took a step back. "This place ain't clean," she said. "Ain't never been. You dig deep enough, you'll hit bones." He stared at the baby. "She's the crying," the widow said. "Come back around." He rubbed his temples. "I didn't ask for this." "Don't matter," she said. "You opened the sack. You held her. She's yours now." "I ain't her daddy." "No," she said. "But you're who's left." The baby reached for him. He hesitated. "You want answers?" The widow said, "Then you listen next time she cries." To what? To what ain't buried. He stepped forward, took the baby back. She didn't scream, just looked tired. Where'd she come from? He asked. She came from truth, the widow said, and truth don't die easy. He turned toward the door. You keep her warm, the widow said, and don't go singing nothing unless it's from your blood. He paused. That's supposed to mean something. The widow smiled. You'll know when she cries. He opened the door. The wind cut through hard. You come back if she starts humming, she said behind him. That's when it gets real bad. He didn't answer, just stepped out, baby tight in his arms, wind biting through his coat. Her breath was warm against his neck. For now, she was quiet. The baby curled against the widow's chest like she belonged there. Her crying stopped, eyes half-lidded, body warm and still. The trapper stood stiff in the doorway, one hand still on the knob like he hadn't decided whether to stay. She's been here before, the widow whispered. Her voice had that gravel-thick edge, the kind that scraped when it softened. Look close. He stepped in. She looks like a baby. She ain't. He watched the baby's hand curl against the widow's worn blouse. You're talking like she's a ghost. She ain't a ghost, the widow said. She's what comes before one. He didn't answer. The widow moved to the table, slow and careful. Steam rose from a blackened pot. She eased into her chair, cradling the baby with one arm, dipping her spoon into thick broth with the other. The spoon clinked against her teeth as she chewed through bone fragments like soft bread. You eat bones now, he asked. Everything softens if it simmers long enough, she said. Some bones got answers inside. He grimaced. You always been like this? She didn't look up. Only since the dying started. The baby shifted in her arms, whined once, then went quiet again. She's calm now, he said. She smells familiar. He stared at her. Familiar how? Like river mud, she said. And copper. And the sheriff's blood. He blinked. You saying she's kin to the sheriff? I'm saying she's been touched by his line. That don't make sense. Course it don't. That's why it's true. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You think she's his? The widow sipped from the spoon. He don't have sons, not living ones. Never had daughters, least not by name. The baby stirred again. He stepped closer. You sure? I know his smell, she said. Men like him carry it in their sweat, same as his daddy did. You knew his daddy? She nodded, chewing. Knew what he buried. Sheriff ain't the first in that line to leave blood in the woods. He shifted. You're saying this baby. She's from that? I'm saying this ain't the first daughter left in the trees. The trapper stared down at the baby. How many? Enough to make the earth soft. He looked out the cracked window. You got names? Names ain't what they took. It was voices, futures, the parts men don't write down. He turned back. If this baby's one of them, why now? The widow held the baby higher, touched her forehead to hers. Sometimes the ground spits things back up when it's ready. That's not an answer. It's the only one I got. He took a slow step forward. She had a note, told me to sing if she cried. The widow didn't blink. She cried. Yeah. And you sang. Tried. From memory? He hesitated. Didn't remember nothing. Just hummed. That's memory, even if you don't see it. He watched the widow rock gently. What do I do? You listen when she cries. You already said that. You didn't hear me the first time. The baby made a soft clicking sound in her throat. The widow stiffened. That noise. What? She's trying to say it. Say what? The widow stood, careful, passed the baby back into his arms. Keep her close. He held her. She stared up at him. She don't blink enough. She's watching, trying to see who you really are. He swallowed hard. I'm nobody. You were, once. Stop talking like that. The widow stepped back toward the hearth. She reached for a tin on the mantel, opened it, pulled out a folded photo. This was taken the year before the mines shut. Look. He looked, a group of girls on the church steps, sunlight too bright. Smiles forced. In the center, a younger version of the widow, holding a baby. That one there, she said, pointing to the child. She vanished 2 weeks later. Sheriff was 17. He looked closer. You think he... I know he did. He stared at the baby in his arms. Then, what is this? She's not the same girl, the widow said, but she's the same story. He let that settle. She needs protection, the widow said, not just from men, from memory. You're talking in circles again. Memory gets mean when it ain't honored. He looked at the baby. She's got no name. She don't need one, the widow said. Not yet. She's waiting to see who you are. I already told you. You don't know who you are anymore. That's why they sent her. He stepped back toward the door. You keep saying they. They's the dead. And the dirt. And the women who didn't get graves. He touched the door frame. You think I'm going to save her? I think she's already saving you. He opened the door. Wind cut through. She cries tonight, the widow said. You hum low. Don't speak. Just listen. He nodded, turned toward the cold, baby tight against his chest. Behind him, the widow started humming. A low sound, familiar, almost his mother's tune. Almost. The widow spit into the fire. It sizzled like oil on pan. She didn't look at him when she spoke. They'll come knockin'. They always do when a man's holding something they think belongs to them. The trapper didn't answer, just stood there, baby wrapped in his coat, breath heavy in the smoke-thick room. The fire cracked. The baby stirred. He adjusted her in his arms, kept his eyes on the flames. You think they know already? He asked. They knew before she cried, the widow said. You just didn't hear it. Sheriff? He asked. Course. He stepped back. You think he put her in my pack? I think men like him don't get their hands dirty. But his name's on her somewhere. You just haven't found it yet. The baby whimpered. He rocked her. What happens when they come? You listen, the widow said. Don't speak. Let them show what they're afraid of. He left before sunrise. Fog rolled over the valley like wool, thick and low. His cabin sat quiet, same as he left it. But the air was different. Still. He laid the baby down in the crate, lit the stove, sat in the corner, shotgun across his knees. She didn't cry. By noon, he heard wagon wheels on gravel, one horse, slow, confident. He stepped onto the porch, saw the preacher's son walking up, black book in one hand, pistol in the other. Morning, the boy said. What you want? Sheriff's looking for his wife. The trapper's jaw clenched. That so? She's gone. 2 nights now. Walked out with her coat and nothing else. She leave a note? The boy shrugged. Sheriff says no. Maybe she didn't want to be found. The boy smiled without humor. She weren't the kind to wander. What's that mean? Means he's worried. She might have gone to someone. Might have told something. The trapper didn't move. You think she came to me? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. The boy nodded toward the cabin. You got someone in there? Just me. No one crying? He gripped the shotgun tighter. You hear crying? The boy paused. No, but folks talking. Church folks. They're saying maybe she saw something she shouldn't have. The trapper stepped off the porch. Sheriff ever lay hands on her? The boy raised his brow. That's not your business. You're on my land, it is. The baby let out a tiny whimper. Not loud, but enough. The boy looked past him toward the door. That a baby? The trapper didn't answer. You found one? The boy asked. He didn't blink. You hear a baby? The boy frowned. You bring one back from the woods? Is that what they're saying? Sheriff said he saw blood on your pack. The trapper's shoulders tensed. He follow me? Said he crossed your tracks. Saw blood at your camp. Empty snares. I didn't trap nothing that day. The boy stared at him. You sure? I know what I carry. The boy stepped forward. Let me see what you got inside. No. If you're holding something that don't belong, she don't belong to nobody. The boy's face shifted. So, there is a baby. The trapper took a slow breath. She was left for dead, wrapped in blood. You think the sheriff's wife did that? The boy looked away. I don't know what to think. Then ride home. Tell your sheriff to think harder. You threatening me? No, I'm telling you. You bring fire to my door, I'll answer in kind. The boy backed up, mounted his horse without another word, rode off slow. Inside, the baby was quiet again. He sat down beside her, rubbed his hands together. By nightfall, another knock, Lighter. Polite. He opened the door to Clara Tomlin, church elder's niece. She held a basket of bread, eyes nervous. "I brought food," she said. "I didn't ask." "Didn't think you would." He stepped aside. She walked in, glanced around. "She here?" He didn't answer. Clara leaned over the crate, saw the baby sleeping. "She looks like her." "Who?" "Sheriff's wife," before he dulled her down. "You knew her?" "She taught me to read." Clara touched the baby's hand. He kept her quiet, told everyone she was sick, said she weren't strong. She seemed strong enough to leave. Clara looked at him. "You think he hurt her?" "I don't think she vanished on her own." "She ever talked to you?" "No." Clara sat down. She wore long sleeves in summer. The trapper nodded. "I seen. Sheriff's daddy used to say daughters ain't for speaking, just for bearing." "That old man still alive?" "Buried behind the church. Sheriff visits twice a week." The trapper looked out the window. "Folks talking?" "They're whisperin' louder. About her. About you. About the baby." He turned. "She got a name?" Clara shook her head. "Sheriff never told. Said naming made him soft." The baby stirred. "She crying yet?" "Not tonight." "That's bad," Clara said. "Why?" "Means she's listening, waiting to choose." "Choose what?" "Whether she stays." He looked at the baby. "She's staying. I ain't giving her back." Clara nodded, stood, left the bread on the table. "I'll come back tomorrow." "You don't have to." "I know," she said, "but I want to." He watched her go, then closed the door. The baby shifted, murmured, eyes still closed. He sat beside her, lit a fresh candle. Outside, the wind carried voices, not loud, just whispers. Behind church doors, names were being spoken. None of them is whole. The bed was cold when he woke. The shirt stuck to his back, mouth dry. Fire burned low. He sat up slowly. The baby wasn't crying. That's what woke him. The silence. Heavy. Off. He swung his legs down. "Little one?" No answer. His boots scraped the floor. The crate was empty. Blanket folded neatly. That wasn't right. He hadn't folded nothing. "Where'd you go?" The door was shut. No wind through the seams. He crossed the room, breath short, heart doing things he didn't like. "If you're hiding, this ain't funny." She wasn't under the table, not behind the stove. He grabbed the shotgun anyway. Then he heard it, humming, soft, from outside. He opened the door, slow. The moon lit the woods pale blue. The sound came from the ridge, high, faint. He followed it barefoot through wet grass. Every few steps he stopped to listen. It got clearer. A voice, woman's, singing low, like morning, like fire. He reached the edge of the trees, froze. The baby stood alone in the clearing, facing something he couldn't see. Her little back was straight, hands open at her sides. She shouldn't be standing, not like that. He stepped forward. "Girl." She didn't turn. He moved faster. "Come here now." She made a noise, not a cry. Something older. He picked her up. She didn't fight him, just leaned into his chest like she'd waited for it. He carried her back without speaking. Inside, he dropped the latch, set her down in the crate. "You walk now?" She didn't answer, just looked at him. "I seen things in dreams," he muttered. "Don't make 'em real." She watched. He poured water into a tin cup, drank, sat down. The humming came back, quiet this time, from her. He looked up. "Don't." She blinked slow. "You don't get to sing." She kept humming, his hands clenched. "That ain't your voice." She stopped. He stared. "What are you trying to say?" She yawned, curled into the blanket. He sat back, eyes burning. He hadn't told no one the dream. The pine box, the fire. The woman inside hadn't screamed. She sang, over and over. Same few lines, no words. Just a tune like fog. And he knew it. Not from her. From his mother. He stood, opened the drawer, pulled out the tin photo case he never touched, wiped the dust, opened it. His mother's face stared back. He touched the glass. "You used to sing when I was sick." The baby coughed. He looked up. "You know her?" She didn't move. "I don't know how you came here, but you got too many eyes in you." She made a wet sound in her throat. He got up, paced. "You're not just a baby. You're something else." The wind outside shifted. Boards groaned. He grabbed the shotgun again. watched the door. She cried once, quick, sharp. He turned. She cried again, then again, louder. He stepped closer. "You want the song?" she screamed. He knelt. "I'm trying. I don't know it." She cried harder. He closed his eyes, tried humming what he remembered, the same rhythm from the dream. She slowed. He kept going. Voice rough, cracked from years of not using it. She hiccuped. He opened his eyes. She stared at him. Then, without sound, she mouthed the tune back. Not the words, just the shape of it. He stopped. "You ain't ever been a baby." She reached out, touched his chin. His throat went tight. "You're one of hers." She blinked. "The ones left out there." A knock hit the door. Hard. He grabbed the shotgun, moved quiet. Another knock. "Trapper." The voice, low. Male. "Go away. We need to talk." He glanced at the baby. She was watching. "I said go." "It's about the sheriff's wife." "What about her?" "She's dead." His stomach dropped. "They found her by the river, wrists cut, but no blood around." He opened the door just a crack. The preacher's son stood there, hat in hand. "You tell the sheriff." "He found her." "Then he knows it wasn't suicide." The boy's eyes shifted. "We're not sure. She was trying to get out." "You seen her?" "No." "Then what makes you think?" "'Cause I got what she left behind." The boy narrowed his eyes. "That baby." "She's got her cry." "That don't make sense." "None of this does." The boy stepped closer. "Let us take her." "No." "You can't keep her." "She chose me." The boy blinked. "What?" "She cries for me. I sing. She stops." "You sound sick." "I probably am." He shut the door. Locked it. The baby cooed. Outside, the boy stood a while, then rode off. The trapper sat on the floor. The baby lay beside him. "You dream too?" he asked. She didn't answer. The fire crackled low. He sang again, barely above a whisper. She didn't cry. She listened. He turned slow. The sound behind him didn't move. It stayed low, quiet, too steady to be wind. The baby squirmed in his arms, not afraid. He looked down at her. She was humming back, almost matching the sound. "You hearing that?" he whispered. She cooed, not scared, like she knew it. He looked toward the trees. The noise came from deep past the ridge, past the flat rocks, past the graves no one marked. There was only one thing out there, what the old folks used to call the well that don't dry. It was older than the cabins, older than the dirt. "You taking me there?" he asked. She blinked slow. He pulled his coat tighter, stepped into the brush, didn't stop walking, just followed the hum, deeper into the woods, boots sinking into soft ground until the trees parted and he saw it. The well sat crooked at the edge of a clearing, stone rim mossy and caved on one side. No rope, no bucket, just open black. The baby shifted, pointed. He swallowed, walked closer. The hum grew stronger, still soft, still slow. He stood over the edge and looked in. Dark, deep. Nothing moved. Then a voice, low and plain. "Hush now. Hush your mouth, child." He stepped back. "No." The baby leaned toward it. He gripped her tighter. "You don't get close to that." But the voice kept going. He backed up further. "I know that sound." The baby looked up at him, eyes wide, still humming. "That's her," he muttered. "That's my mama's voice." He stared down again. "She died 30 winters ago. She don't belong in there." The well hummed back. He shook his head. "No. You don't get to sing to me. Not now." The baby whimpered. "You stop." She cried. He held her closer. "I can't sing here. Not with her listening." The voice from the well grew louder, just enough to make the words clear. "You left me. You didn't bury me right." His knees buckled. "I was 10. The baby cried harder. "You let them take me," the voice whispered. He looked down. "They wouldn't let me near you. They locked me out the room." The baby shrieked. The hum turned into a low moan. "Please," he muttered. "I didn't know what to do." The well hissed. "You knew the song." "I forgot it." "You buried it." "I was a child." "You watched them lie. You stayed quiet." The baby cried like she was breaking apart. He dropped to his knees, rocked her. "Stop, please. I'm sorry." He hummed, shaky, weak. The moan slowed. He sang again, louder. The tune from the dreams, the one his mother used to sing over the stove when he was sick, when his sister got taken to town and never came back. The baby quieted. The well went still. He sat there, panting, arms tight around the child. "I didn't know what they did to you," he said to the dark. "I only saw the way they stared after, and no one spoke your name again." The air turned cold. The trees didn't move. He stood, legs shaking. "You done?" Silence. He turned to go, took one step, then the voice again, softer now. "There's more." He turned back. "More what?" "More under me. Bones. Names. You walking on them." He looked down at the earth, suddenly unsure of what lay beneath. "You telling me they're buried here?" The baby stirred. "All of them?" he asked. The voice whispered, "One for every lie, every silence, every girl who didn't come home." He stepped back from the well. "You carry her." The voice said, "You carry them all." He held the baby close. "What am I supposed to do?" "Let them be heard." "I don't know how." "You're learning." The hum faded. The baby touched his chin again, soft like always. He walked away from the well, slow, one foot steady after the other. Didn't look back. She didn't make a sound the whole way home. Inside, he laid her down, lit the fire, sat across from her. She knew the song, he whispered. The baby blinked. She was mad. The floor creaked once, just the wind this time. He leaned forward. "That well's not just dirt. It's got memory." She reached for his hand. He let her hold it. "You want to go back?" he asked. She didn't answer, just hummed one note. Same tune, same rhythm. He didn't stop her. Just sat there, listening, like maybe that was all he had to do. "You know who she is," the trapper muttered, shotgun low but ready. The sheriff stood stiff in the doorway, boots wet with creek mud, coat still buttoned like it was Sunday. Behind him, 2 deputies, one young, one mean, hands near holsters, eyes fixed on the baby in the crate. "I don't care whose she is," the sheriff said. "She's evidence. She ain't a thing. She's a thread in a noose." The baby whimpered, quiet, like she knew this wasn't the time to cry. "You come here with guns for a child?" the trapper asked. "She ain't just a child. She was found in your sack, wrapped in blood. That makes her yours, or someone's you're protectin'." "I didn't put her there." "Somebody did, and you didn't report it." The trapper stepped in front of the crate. "She's been crying different. She remembers things." "You sayin' she talks now?" the mean deputy asked. "She hums," the trapper said. "And she don't hum for just anything." The young one shifted. "That the song folks keep talking about?" The sheriff shot him a look. "Shut it." "I heard it too," the young deputy said. "Near the church. Night she showed up." "She don't belong to you," the trapper said. "She don't belong to nobody," the sheriff snapped. "She's a danger." "'Cause she remembers. 'Cause she can't forget." The baby cried, sharp this time, high and long. The trapper flinched, looked to her. "Sing," the young deputy said, almost quiet. The sheriff raised his gun. "Don't." The trapper didn't sing, just stood frozen, eyes locked on the crate. The mean deputy moved first, stepped toward her. "She cries, I shoot," the sheriff warned. "She cries, I sing," the trapper said, stepping between them. The sheriff took a breath. "You're making this worse. She ain't done nothin'. She's a vessel. Then what's inside her scares you." The mean one cocked his gun. "You don't move." The baby wailed again. The floor creaked beneath her voice. "You hear that?" the trapper said. "She's callin'," the young one whispered. The sheriff growled. "You shut your damn mouth." The trapper looked at the sheriff. "She sounds like your wife." That landed. The sheriff blinked. "Don't speak on her. You found her at the river. No blood. Wrists cut. But you know she didn't do it. You sayin' I did. I'm sayin' she knew what you buried." The sheriff raised the gun higher. "I should have put you down when you was a boy. You put down my mother instead. She was asking for it. Stirring folks up. Same as the women before her. Same as your wife." The sheriff fired. The round hit the wall near the baby. Splinters flew. She screamed. The trapper ran to her, covered her with his body, Hummed low, off-key. The sheriff raised the gun again. "You keep that up. I'll put one through your spine." The young deputy stepped back. "Sheriff!" the mean one yelled. "Get out of the way." The baby's scream turned sharp, shrill, too long. The trapper covered his ears. "Make it stop." The young one stared at her. "She's changin'." The sheriff stepped forward. "Grab her, now!" The mean one lunged. The trapper swung the butt of the shotgun, cracked it across his face. The deputy dropped. The baby shrieked louder. The young one backed away. "This ain't right. This ain't natural." The sheriff pointed the gun at the trapper. "Move." The trapper didn't move. You know what happens when you silence him. "She's not real. She's your daughter's Cry." The sheriff's hand shook. "I don't got a daughter." "You did." Silence. The baby whimpered again, softer now, a hum rising beneath it. The trapper looked down. "You want me to sing?" The hum grew steadier, like breath, like steam through stone. "I don't remember all the words," he said. "She does," the young deputy said. "Let her finish it." The sheriff turned. "You with me or him?" The young deputy stepped back. "I don't think she's with either." The baby lifted her hand, not to reach, to point. At the sheriff. He dropped his gun, stepped back like he'd been burned. "I didn't—" he started, but the hum cut him off. Low, steady, familiar. He fell to his knees. "I didn't mean to—" The floorboards groaned under him. "She ain't yours," the trapper said. "She's all of theirs." The wind pushed through the cracks, cold and sharp. The candle died out. The baby stopped crying. The sheriff started, sobbing. The mean one groaned on the floor, blood from his nose. The trapper picked her up, held her close. "She done?" the young deputy asked. "For now." "You gonna keep her?" "I ain't got a choice." Outside, the sun was gone. Only gray, only quiet, only ash where fire used to be. The page stuck under his thumb. Dry paper, faded ink, not handwriting, etched, burned in. Clara May. He stared. "You didn't know?" the widow asked. Voice like gravel rolled in water. He shook his head. "I thought she drowned." "She didn't." "They said she slipped, fell in the river." "She didn't," the widow said again. He looked up. She was 10. She was a girl. That was enough. He touched the name again. The edge of the ash left dust on his skin. "Why's her name in here?" The widow turned the page. Another name, then another, then a cluster. They come in waves, every generation or so. When the men forget to be scared, his voice cracked. "You kept this all these years?" "I didn't start it. My mother did. And hers before her." He flipped back to the first page. Oldest date was nearly a century back. "They're all girls?" They were. He rubbed his thumb across Clara May again. "Why didn't anybody say nothing?" "They did. Nobody listened." "Sheriff's family. His daddy. His granddaddy. Always with power. Always with fear." He turned another page. "You got proof." "This is proof." "They'll say it's stories." "They always do." He stopped on a name he didn't know. Ruth Ann. "She was mine," the widow said. He looked at her. "She didn't drown either." His jaw clenched. "What happened?" "She bled out behind the mill." He swallowed. "Why?" She said no. The baby stirred in his arms. Small noise, not a cry, just sound. The widow reached across the table. "Let me hold her." He passed her over, slow. She sat back in the crooked chair, held the baby like she was glass. "She's quiet around you," he said. "She knows I remember." The wind pushed against the side of the cabin. The fire popped once, then settled. "She's not like the others," he said. "She is." "But she came back." "They all tried," the widow whispered. "Some just didn't get this far." The baby blinked up at her. "She got your sister's eyes," the widow said. He leaned forward. "You think she's—" "What? Possessed?" "She's not possessed." "She's passed through." He stared. "That's not an answer. It's the only one we get." He ran a hand through his hair. "This is bigger than I thought." The widow nodded. "It always was. They'll come back. They always do." "You think they know what she is?" "They're scared she might make others remember." The baby cooed. He looked at her. "She don't cry no more. She's waitin'." For what? For you to choose. He stood. Choose what? To fight or to bury her too? I ain't burying nobody. Then it's time. Time for what? For folks to hear what's been whispered too long. He turned toward the door. I'll take the ledger. She handed it over. Be careful. He slid it inside his coat. They kill for less. That's why we remember. He opened the door. I'll come back. You better, she said. She'll need you. The baby reached for him. He hesitated, then took her. The widow's voice followed him out. You hold her right, like she's real. She is. He walked down the path with the ledger tucked close and the baby pressed to his chest. The wind didn't bother him this time. Behind him, the cabin light stayed burning, silent, still, waiting. The voice clicked on again, worn and warbled, too old to be crisp. It drifted out of the recorder like steam. I know what you did to Clara, the voice said. A pause, then softer, almost kind. I saw you dig the hole behind the schoolhouse. The baby cooed. He froze. You hear that? He whispered. She cooed again. Louder this time, like she recognized it, like it made her feel safe. He pressed rewind, let the tape roll back slow, click, then play. A lullaby, gentle, off-key. His mother's voice. He hadn't heard it in 25 years. Go to sleep, little bird. River's runnin' warm. He sat back on the cellar steps. Cold air clung to his skin. Earth all around. Damp wood above. He looked at the recorder like it might breathe. The baby leaned into his chest, tiny fingers fisted in his coat. He looked down at her. You know this? She didn't move. The tape clicked again. Another voice. Not a song. A whisper. If you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. His heart stuttered. I kept my mouth shut like they told me. But the girls, they never came back. And I ain't sleeping right. The baby whimpered. Not loud. Just a pulse of sound. He pressed his hand to her back. It's okay. I'm here. The voice continued. He's got 'em buried along the ridge, near the ash trees. You know the ones. With the white bark. A shuffle. Then coughing. Then the lullaby again. Fainter now. The trapper let it play through. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe much. The recorder crackled. Another pause. Then the voice again. If they ever bring her back, if a baby comes to you in a sack, don't send her away. He looked down. She was staring up at him. Raise her to remember. The tape clicked off. Silence. He stared at the old recorder, dented, dust-covered, his mother's name etched on the back in pencil. You kept this here all this time, he muttered, hidin' it in the root cellar like a secret ain't still alive. He stood slow, baby in one arm, recorder in the other. Climbed the stairs back into the main house. Floorboards creaked different now, like they listened too. He set the recorder on the table, lit the lamp, sat across from it. The baby watched him. You think this is why she came? He asked. She blinked. He rewound the tape again. Just enough to hear her name. I know what you did to Clara. His jaw clenched. He hadn't heard her name out loud since the funeral. They never found her. Just her shoes. One floating in the river. One behind the old barn. He'd been 12. He pushed the tape to the end, clicked it off. She knew, he said. Mama knew. She tried to tell it. She just couldn't finish. The baby let out a sound. Not a cry. Not a coo. It almost sounded like a hum. He leaned forward. That's it. That's the song. She hummed again, short and sweet. He grabbed a pen, wrote the lyrics on the back of an old envelope, every word he could remember. Go to sleep, little bird. River's runnin' warm. Ain't no man gonna find you if you don't speak his harm. His hand trembled. He looked at the recorder. How many more are on here? He rewound halfway, hit play. A different voice this time, younger, crying. Sheriff said he'd let me go if I stayed quiet. Said my mama would die if I told. I tried. It cut off. He hit stop, held the baby tighter. They all told, he said, just not loud enough. And no one listened. The baby pressed her face into his chest. You ain't just one girl, he whispered. You're all of 'em. The wind howled outside. He stood, took the recorder and the baby, and headed toward the old trunk under the bed. Pulled out a stack of photographs, old church records, his father's sermons folded into brittle paper. He opened one, Clara's baptism. She looked small, skinny, eyes too big for her face. He ran a thumb over her name. I didn't protect you. The baby stirred. But maybe I can protect her. He looked down. Or maybe she's the one protecting me. She hummed again. Same tune, slower now. He smiled without meaning to. You remember all of it, he said. Don't you? She touched the edge of his collar, gentle. The recorder stayed on the table, still, quiet, waiting, but he could hear her voice anyway, clear. Go to sleep, little bird, river's running warm. He sang it back, this time all the words. His finger rested on the brand burned into the cross, rough-edged, charred deep, HV, the sheriff's father. He stepped back, looked around the clearing. It wasn't big, maybe 20 crosses, some crooked, some half-buried. Not one had a name, only brands. The baby hummed in his arms. Same song, louder now. He looked at the widow. She stood behind the fence, quiet. This the place? He asked. She nodded. It's where they stopped digging graves. These girls under here? Some of them. Which ones? No way to know. They didn't mark 'em for remembering, just for owning. He looked at the baby. She knows. She always knew. The wind moved through dry grass. The crosses groaned. He stepped between two, careful not to touch. The baby's hum sharpened. She hummin' for this one? He asked. The widow pointed. Next one over. He moved to it. Another cross, another brand. JP. That name means something to you. Sheriff's uncle, never married, ran girls through the lumber camps. He looked down. They really all here. Some in pieces, some whole. Who buried 'em? Men who owed the family, men who couldn't say no. Who watched? She looked away. We all did. The baby wailed, short, like a warning. She don't like this one. Brand's fresh, the widow said. Still smells like fire. He crouched. This one recent. Widow nodded. Last 6 months, maybe less. Sheriff's? Could be. The baby reached for the ground. Her fingers curled. He held her tighter. Don't touch. She kept humming. Higher now, almost angry. The trapper stood. She feelin' all of it. She's carrying all of it. He looked out across the crosses. So what do we do? Tell someone. They won't believe us. Don't need belief, just ears. He turned to her. Then why now? Why bring me here? 'Cause the sheriff knows this place. He knows you're close. You think he's watchin'? He always watches. The baby went silent. The widow stiffened. That means something. Only time she quiet is when they're near. He reached for the shotgun slung across his back. Won't help you here, she said. Still feel better holding it. They stood at the center of the clearing. Baby still. Widow staring into trees. Then a branch cracked, left side. The trapper turned, raised the gun. Nothing moved. You hear that? He asked. Too late if you didn't. Another crack, this time behind them. She's settlin', the widow said. What? The girl, she's pickin'. Pickin' what? Whose memory to wake first? The baby let out a note. High, clear, like glass. Then she laughed, just once. The air dropped 10 degrees. Time to go, the widow said. We need proof. We got it. He looked confused. Her song, she said. And this ground. He stepped back, scanning each cross. You think anyone ever dug here? No one brave enough. He looked down, kicked dirt off one base, found bone. She ain't lying. She never was. He picked the baby up higher. We take her to town. We take her to the church. They'll deny it. Then we bury her song so loud they can't. He nodded. You ready for that? No. But you'll do it anyway. Yes. The baby hummed again. Soft now. Gentle. They turned to leave. Wait, he said. One more. He walked to the last row. Small cross, tilted. No weeds, no rot. Brand read CM. He froze. Clara May, he whispered. You sure? The widow asked. He nodded. She's mine. The baby touched the wood. Just once. The humming stopped. He kissed her forehead. Thank you. She closed her eyes. They walked out together. No one spoke. Behind them, the brands burned darker. The baby's curls caught ash. Fine. White flecks. Didn't blink. Didn't cry. Just watched the house burn like she knew what it meant. The trapper held her close. What now? The widow didn't look at him, just stared into the flames, face lit gold and hollow. Now they see. You burning it down for her? I'm burning it down for all of 'em. He stepped back from the heat. Why your house? 'Cause it holds the most memory, and memory's what they fear. He shifted the baby to his other arm. You could have just told the town. I've told 'em for years. Then why this? She turned. Fire speaks louder than prayer. The baby hummed. He looked down. She knows what you're doing. She knew before I lit the match. The fire cracked louder. Part of the roof caved in. Smoke climbed fast, thick, already trailing to the trees like a signal. They'll come, he said. They need to. Sheriff will send his boys. They know better. He looked at her. You ready for them? I was born ready. He scanned the road. You got something planned? I got her, she said, nodding at the baby. She's the plan. He rocked the girl. She ain't a weapon. She's a voice. He hesitated. Ain't nobody listening. They will. The widow walked to the porch, flames now licking under the eaves. She stood there a moment, breathing it in. Back away, he said. She didn't move. This house raised me, took my daughter, hid the tape you found. Burning it makes room. For what? For the rest of 'em to rise. He stepped forward. I'm taking her to town. They need to see. The widow nodded. Go to the church first, not the law. They'll call me a liar. You'll have a child singing what they buried. She don't talk. She don't have to. The baby blinked slow, hummed low in his coat. You see, the widow whispered. She's already started. He adjusted his grip. You comin'? I'll follow. He paused. You sure? I got one more thing to do. Which is? She pulled a rusted bell from under her coat. Old, blackened, no clapper. This rang when girls were born. It stopped after Clara. He stared. That bell used to hang at the school. Now it'll burn with the silence. She walked back to the house, tossed it through the doorway. A scream rose from inside. Not human. The trapper stepped back. What the hell was that? She didn't flinch. It's the past. Leavin'. He looked down at the baby. You hear it? She didn't move. The widow turned. She's calm. That means it's working. What if she screams again? Then you sing. He nodded. You remember the words? Almost. Almost ain't good enough. He looked up. I'll get there. The fire climbed higher. A window shattered. You ready for what comes next? She asked. No. But you'll go? Yeah. The widow stepped off the porch. Then go now, before the men with clean boots show up. He turned, walked toward the road, baby snug in his arms. You tell them, she called behind him. Tell them the fire ain't for fear. It's for memory. He didn't answer, just kept walking. Behind him, the roof collapsed. Flames roared. The baby smiled. Quiet. She didn't hum. Not yet. The baby reached out. Her fingers curled around air. The trapper stepped closer, quiet, not sure what she saw. The body lay still, pale, cold. Laid out in the church hall with her wedding dress on, lay stiff with age. The sheriff's wife. The baby's hum had stopped the second they stepped inside. Now, the room stayed quiet. Rows of women stood shoulder to shoulder. No words, no movement, just silence. Every one of them held something in both hands. Portraits, photos, charcoal drawings, cracked frames, faded cloth with names stitched in crooked thread. All daughters, all gone. The widow was the only one not holding anything. She stood near the head of the casket with her arms crossed. He walked slow toward her. What is this? Court, she said. Where's the preacher? Gone. He looked around. Where are the men? Didn't get invited. He stepped past two old women with eyes full of frost. They gonna speak? They already have. The baby wriggled in his arms. Still no sound. No hum. Just breathing. You said they needed to hear her. They are. He looked at the casket. She's dead. She came anyway. The baby reached again. He stepped toward the body. The sheriff's wife looked peaceful. Lips closed. No bruises. No cuts. But too much quiet in her hands. No wedding ring. Just a line where it had once been. She ever say anything to you? He asked. The widow nodded. Once. Said she knew where the screams were buried. He swallowed. She knew about the girls. She was one. He stared. She bled once and never spoke again, the widow said. They call that healing in this town. He looked at the women, still silent, still watching. You brought me here for judgment. No, we brought her, the widow said, nodding to the baby. The trapper stepped back. She's a child. She's the memory. I don't want her to carry all that. She already does. He faced the room. So what now? One of the women stepped forward, small frame, gray braid. Her photo showed a girl in a Sunday dress, kneeling by a creek. The woman didn't speak, just held the photo out toward the baby. The baby stared, didn't blink. Another woman stepped forward. Another photo. Then another. He looked around. What are they doing? They're showing her who she is, the widow said. The baby hummed once. Soft. The sound shook the floorboards. One woman dropped her picture. The trapper held the baby tight. She's startin'. She's remembering. I don't know what to do. You don't have to. The baby reached her hand toward the casket again, then to the women. Then she opened her mouth. Not a cry, not a hum. A word. One name. Ruth. The widow closed her eyes. That was mine, she whispered. The trapper stared at her. Your daughter? The widow nodded once. The baby said another name. Lila. The room shifted. The women exhaled. One began to cry. She's speaking them back, the widow said. She's lifting what the men buried. The trapper felt his legs shake. She's just a child. She's all of them. Another name. May. Then a whisper. Clara. His throat closed. The widow touched his arm. She remembered your sister. The women stepped forward now. All of them surrounded him, surrounded her. Not to take, just to witness. She's calling the rest, the widow said. The baby's hum returned, low, steady. A song now, the same tune. The women began to hum with her. The trapper fell to his knees, and the sheriff's wife, cold in her casket, smiled just enough to show she heard. The sheriff dropped to his knees. Mud soaked through his pants. He shook. Sweat ran down his neck, cold and wrong. His voice cracked. They told me it was tradition. The baby shrieked, sharp, high. Like the whistle of a kettle, but closer to something breaking. It didn't echo. It stuck to the air like smoke. The trapper didn't move. Make her stop, the sheriff begged. Please, I didn't know it'd come back like this. You knew, the widow said. I didn't, he choked. It wasn't me, it was my father. You carried it, she said. The baby shrieked again. The trapper stepped forward. I don't know how this ends. She does, the widow said. He looked down at the girl. Her eyes were shut now, her mouth open, still humming, still holding that cry between notes. She wants you to sing, the widow whispered. I can't. You must. He took a breath, shaky, unready. Then he hummed the first part. His voice was low, untrained. It broke on the second note. The baby opened her eyes. She sang back. Not words, sounds, echoed, mirrored. The sheriff covered his ears. No, stop. You don't understand what you're calling. The trapper sang louder. The baby matched him. The church floor trembled. Dust fell from the rafters. The women around them held their portraits tighter, lips pressed shut, but eyes wide. No one left. From behind the altar, a sound started. Not a cry, not a voice. A hum. Another. Then another. It built slow, layered, familiar. They're here, the widow said. Who? The trapper asked. The ones she sings for. He turned. The dead? The remembered. The sheriff collapsed fully now, face to the floor, body convulsing. They were nothing, he gasped. Just girls. Just noise. The baby sang louder. The trapper kept going. Go to sleep, little bird. River's running warm. The sheriff screamed. You don't get to bring them back. They were buried. I made sure. You lied, the widow said. I protected the town. You protected power. The sound deepened. Beneath the hum, something knocked, like boots on wood. Heavy, in rhythm. Then came whispers. From nowhere. From everywhere. Clara, Ruth, May. Names poured from the dark. Names they hadn't spoken in decades. I didn't bury them all, the sheriff sobbed. Some were taken by others. Men in my family, yes, but not me. Not always." "You allowed it," the widow said. "I thought it was over." "It is. Just not for you." The baby shrieked again. Not a cry. A release. The floor cracked. The sheriff screamed. The trapper stopped singing. The baby didn't. Her voice didn't belong to one child. It was layered, deep, too many voices to count. The women began to cry. The sheriff curled in on himself. "I was a boy when it started. You grew into the same hands," the widow said. He looked up. "Please." The baby stopped. Silence. The trapper held her tighter. She looked at the sheriff. Not angry, just knowing. He crawled forward, reached for her. "You remember me, don't you?" She hummed one more note. The sheriff's body stiffened. Blood ran from his nose, then his ears. He dropped. The trapper stepped back. The baby exhaled. All at once, the voices vanished. The church stood still. The women stood still. The only sound was the baby's breath. He looked around. "Is it done?" The widow shook her head. "It's just begun." The baby closed her eyes and slept. Bubbles rose to the surface, fat and slow, then popped one by one. The water stilled. The well swallowed the last sound like a secret too long held. The widow stood with her hands clasped behind her back, shoulders square, chin lifted like she'd done it before. "It's done," she said. The trapper didn't move. He stared at the water, lips parted, jaw tight. "Ain't nothing done." She glanced at the baby. She smiled. "I saw." The baby rested quiet against his chest, her eyes wide, soft now, not heavy like before. Her mouth curved just a little. Not much, just enough to make it real. "You feel it?" the widow asked. He nodded. "Still wrong in the air." "Not fear. Not this time." He shifted the girl in his arms. "So what is it?" "Wait," the widow said. "What happens after silence breaks?" The old women stood in a half circle around the well, still as statues, mud on their hands, sleeves rolled, faces blank. They hadn't spoken a word since they pulled him down. "He didn't scream long," the trapper muttered. "He knew what waited." "You think it'll hold?" "It don't matter." "Why?" "He's not the last." He looked at her. "More?" "There's always more." The wind picked up. The trees groaned. One woman stepped forward and dropped something into the well. A ring. Gold. Bent. Another dropped a ribbon. Then a lock of hair. Then a page from a Bible. "They offerin' him peace?" the trapper asked. "They ain't offerin' him nothin'. They're closing the story." He stepped closer to the stones. "What happens if he comes back?" "He won't. He's not the kind that stays buried. He's not buried. He's drowned." "That's different." The baby cooed. The trapper looked down. "You happy now?" She blinked up at him, then hummed one soft note. He froze. "That new?" The widow nodded. "Old song. New tongue." "She's speaking again?" "She's speaking for them now." He looked around at the women. "They all gonna listen?" "They already are." One of the women stepped forward and opened a black book. She read names. No last names. Just first. Some whispered. Some firm. The trapper closed his eyes. "I know some of those." "We all do," the widow said. He breathed deep. "This is justice?" "This is memory," she said. "Justice ain't got hands, but we do." The baby laughed, sudden and sharp, startled them both. He looked down. "That's the first real one." "She's not carrying it all anymore." He kissed her forehead. "Then who is?" "We are." The women circled tighter around the well. One pulled out a stick of chalk, drew a symbol on the stone, a circle, a line through the center, another mark at the bottom. The trapper didn't ask what it meant. "You ever seen that before?" he asked. "Long time ago." "They witches." "They mothers." He rocked the baby slowly. "She gonna remember this?" "She'll remember enough." He stared into the dark. "I still feel him down there." "He's not alone." He turned. "Who else?" "Every man who fed it." The water rippled once more, just a tremor, then stopped. The baby leaned her head on his chest. Her hand opened and closed like she was catching something invisible. "Feels quiet," he whispered. "It's earned." "Don't feel done." "It never is." He stepped back from the edge. "What now?" "Now she learns to live." "And me." "You sing when she cries." "She still needs that?" Not always, the widow said, but sometimes when the wind turns, she'll need to remember you're with her. The trapper nodded. The women began to walk away, one by one. Down the trail, through the trees, back to the places they hadn't spoken from in years. You ain't coming? He asked. The widow smiled. I've got ashes to spread. She gonna be okay? She already is. He looked at the well one more time, then turned. The baby looked back over his shoulder just once. Didn't cry, didn't hum, just looked and smiled. The cradle was empty. The trapper stood in the doorway, shoulders hunched, breath tight in his chest. Fire in the stove, still warm, blanket still folded, but no sound, no baby. He stepped closer, looked once, then again. The sack sat beside the hearth, same one she came in, mouth open, damp at the bottom. He crouched, reached inside, his fingers touched paper. He pulled it out, unfolded slow. If she cries, you sing. Same handwriting, same curl in the Y. He sat back on his heels. Why again? He whispered. He looked at the door. Still shut. He looked at the windows. Nothing moved. Then he heard it. Not a cry. A note. One hum. Low. Barely there. He stood fast, grabbed the sack, threw it over his shoulder, stepped outside into the dusk. The sound came from the trees. He moved quick, boots heavy in the wet grass. The hum got clearer. Not afraid. Not urgent. Just calling. He followed it through the first ridge, past the old fence line. She was sitting on a flat rock near the stream, hands on her knees, eyes up at the sky like she'd been waiting for him to show. He dropped the sack and crouched. You got out on your own. She smiled. He reached for her. She leaned in easy. No sound now. You walked here, she blinked. Why? She rested her head against his chest. He stood with her in his arms. You always do this. She hummed again. Just one note. He nodded. All right. They walked into the woods deeper than before, past the place where the sheriff went down, past the spot where old names still hung in ash. He didn't ask where she wanted to go. He just followed her silence. After a mile, she tapped his back. He stopped. She pointed. An old pine tree stood alone, bent to one side, scarred in the bark like lightning had kissed it and left a mark. He walked to it. At the base, half buried in dirt, something metal stuck out. He crouched, shifted the girl to one arm, dug with the other. A box, rusted shut. He pried it open with a stone. Inside, a torn shawl, a girl's shoe, and a ribbon tied around a rolled scrap of paper. He untied it, unrolled it. The handwriting was different, older, faded. She cries when they forget. He looked at the baby. You've been carrying this long. She touched the ribbon, then his collar. He stood, held her against him. All right, he said. We remember. He set the box back where he found it, covered it, stood still a moment. She started to hum again. He sang back, low. Sure. Go to sleep, little bird. River's running warm. Ain't no man gonna find you if you don't speak his harm. She smiled again. This time he remembered every word. They walked on. The trees closed around them, and nothing followed.